Welcome to Kids Adventure Club. Let the adventure begin.
The baby was left in the tiger's den. No one knew who had abandoned her there. When the emperor's guards arrived, expecting to find only bones, they instead found something impossible. The tigress had not devoured the child. She had curled around her, shielding her with her great striped body, golden eyes watchful as if guarding something sacred. And standing at the mouth of the cave, arms crossed, was Lady Jian, warrior, strategist, and the empire's deadliest general. "She is mine now," Jian declared, lifting the child from the beast's embrace. Her voice left no room for argument. The court whispered of madness. Some said the girl was a bad omen, others that she was a gift from the gods. But when the child opened her eyes, they glowed. Faintly at first, then brighter, molten gold swirling like liquid fire. The same eyes as the tiger. That was the day the empire changed forever, because this was no ordinary child, and soon the world would know why. The torches in the imperial courtyard flickered, uneasy. May stood at the center, her breath sharp, the embroidered sleeves of her robe torn from the fight. The sigil on her wrist, one she had been warned never to reveal, burned with golden light. She had spent her life in the shadow of the woman who raised her. Lady Jian, the empire's fiercest warrior, known as the Tiger of the East. May had trained under her, fought under her, but even now she could feel the eyes of the court watching, waiting. The High Oracle stepped forward, voice steady. "Princess May, do you know why you were summoned?" "Yes," May said, "because I am not truly of the royal blood." Silence fell. Then the emperor himself leaned forward from his golden throne. "Then tell me," he said, "what you are." The wind shifted. May's skin tingled. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the courtyard. And in the distance, from the edge of the imperial gardens, something moved. Something ancient. A growl rumbled through the night, low and deep. The air turned heavy, thick with the scent of magic. The emperor's guards drew their swords, but Lady Jian did not move. She only watched as golden light coiled around May's hands, swirling into something primal. Not magic, not sorcery, something older, something wild. The ground trembled, and from the darkness behind her, the tiger emerged. Not just any tiger, the spirit of the first guardian, the one who had once protected the empire before vanishing into legend, and it had come for her. The emperor rose, voice sharp. "What are you?" May turned, eyes glowing like the beast at her side. "The beginning," she said. And then the world shifted. The tiger did not bow. It stood beside May, massive and glowing, its striped fur shimmering like molten gold under the moonlight. The courtiers gasped, some stumbling back, their silken robes rustling like frightened birds. The High Oracle clutched her staff, eyes wide with disbelief. "This is impossible," she whispered. May wasn't so sure. The sigil on her wrist still burned, its golden glow pulsing in time with the energy humming through her veins. She felt connected to the tiger as if its heartbeat echoed her own. Its power was hers, and hers was something else entirely. "May." She turned. Lady Jian's voice was calm, but her golden eyes, so much like the tiger's, held an urgency May had never seen before. "Do not speak," Jian commanded, stepping forward. "Do not move." But the emperor had already risen from his throne. "No," he said, his voice dark with something May could not name. "The girl will answer." The guards shifted, hands tightening around their spears. "Tell me, child," the emperor said. "What are you?" May's fingers twitched. Energy rippled through her skin, urging her to run, to fight, to do something. But she held herself still, not out of obedience, but because of the look in Lady Jian's eyes. It was not fear. It was calculation. May took a slow breath. She could feel the tiger beside her, waiting, watching, as if it, too, needed her answer. So she gave one. "I am what you left behind," she said. The emperor's jaw tightened. Whispers rippled through the court. May knew what they were thinking. She was a foundling, a girl raised not by nobility but by a warrior, claimed by the Tiger of the East when no one else would have her. She had no royal blood, no right to stand here, and yet the tiger had come for her. The emperor's hand clenched at his side. "Enough of this," he said sharply. "Guards!" But before he could give the order, the tiger moved. It leapt forward, fast as lightning, a blur of gold and black. The air rippled as it passed, sending a shockwave through the courtyard. The guards barely had time to react before the beast landed, not on them, but between May and the throne. A warning, a claim. The emperor froze. Lady Jian exhaled softly. "I was right," she murmured. "The bloodline lives." May's heart pounded. The bloodline? But before she could ask, the High Oracle stepped forward, gripping her staff. "If the guardian has chosen her," the old woman said, "then the prophecy has begun." The air inside the grand throne room felt heavy, charged with something ancient and powerful. May's golden mark pulsed against her skin, glowing brighter with each passing second. She clenched her fist, trying to steady herself, but the energy running through her veins was unlike anything she had ever felt. Before her, the massive tiger stood firm, its golden and black fur shimmering under the torchlight. The beast's tail flicked, muscles tense as if preparing for battle. Every guard in the hall had their weapons drawn, but none dared to move. The presence in the room had frozen them in place. And then, from the darkness beyond the throne, a figure emerged. May's heart pounded as the man stepped forward. His cloak, long and tattered, dragged across the marble floor like the whisper of forgotten ghosts. His face was hidden beneath a hood, but May could feel his gaze pierce through her, unraveling the secrets she didn't even know she held. The king sat rigid upon his golden throne, his knuckles white as he gripped the armrests. His voice, usually calm and commanding, came out in a whisper. "You were banished." The figure chuckled, a sound too smooth, too knowing. "And yet, here I stand." A shiver ran down May's spine. She didn't know this man, yet something inside her recognized him. Her fingers twitched involuntarily, and the mark on her wrist burned like fire. "You don't remember, do you?" the man asked, tilting his head ever so slightly. May swallowed hard. "Remember what?" The tiger let out a low growl, stepping closer to her as if sensing danger. But it was not fear May felt. It was something else. A strange familiarity. A memory that lurked just beyond her reach. The man's voice dropped lower. "You have lived 2 lives, child, one in this kingdom and one before it." A ringing noise filled May's ears. Images flickered in her mind, flashes of another time, another place. A great palace bathed in moonlight. A throne, not of gold, but of stone and fire. A voice calling her name. "May." Her breath caught in her throat. "You were not always a princess of this kingdom." The room seemed to spin. May staggered back, but the tiger pressed against her side, grounding her. She met the man's shadowed gaze. "Who am I?" Silence hung in the air. Then, in a voice filled with both sorrow and power, the man spoke. "You were a queen." The flames of the torches flickered violently, casting wild, dancing shadows across the throne room. Gasps echoed through the hall. May's heartbeat thundered in her ears. A queen? It couldn't be. It didn't make sense. But deep inside her, something whispered, "Yes, yes, you were." The king slammed his fist onto the armrest. "Enough!" His voice rang out like a thunderclap. He stood, his robe billowing as he pointed at the cloaked figure. "You will not corrupt her mind with your lies." The man did not flinch. Instead, he took a step closer. "Tell me, your majesty," he said, voice laced with mockery. "If I speak lies, why does she remember?" May inhaled sharply, because she did remember. Not everything, not yet, but she felt it, deep in her bones. The king's face darkened. "Guards!" But before he could finish, the ground trembled. A deep rumble shook the palace, dust falling from the high ceilings. The torches flickered violently, nearly extinguishing. Then, from somewhere beyond the castle walls, a horn blew, low, echoing, a sound of war. May's eyes widened. The past was not just returning. It had already arrived. माँ पापा से प्यार करने वाले बच्चे चैनल को जरूर सब्सक्राइब करें। धन्यवाद।